Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Heaven's Secret Requiem, Season 1, Episode 5. Y'all, it's been a while. I actually didn't have the opportunity to record anything. It's been quite dramatic, quite bad for me at home lately. But I'm back and I'm into this more than ever. I'm actually so intrigued to know who this man is and why Cain was so mad. Maybe he recognizes him from somewhere, I don't know. I read this one comment. It actually hurt me to read that, but it could be possible that he or she is right. Because it would make sense when we were in the church and he thought that we weren't really capable of deciphering the book of the apocalypse. We were uninteresting to Cain. And after he saw that we were capable to read something that most people can't, we were interesting. And that's why he said that he's gonna protect us no matter what. So him having a hidden agenda, it could be possible, but I just want to hope that there's someone in this story that truly cares about us. So it kind of hurt me when I read that, and that we're only gonna be used from left and right. In my eyes, Cain is just a little better than the others, even if he would have a hidden agenda with us in the beginning, because he did not stand for this bullshit. He was not having the fact that we were being tortured with drugs. Like, you could see that. So even if you would have a hidden agenda, this man has other, or let's just say better principles than the others at that campground. So that makes him my favorite. But we will see. News of the infected has surfaced, and Rotkov sheds its first tears. Heaven's Secret Requiem, Episode 5, Status Quo. Uh-oh. Boris Romanov, nice to meet you. The sun's rays emerged from behind a cloud and slid across the clearing with a soft flicker. The snow had hardened and became covered with a thin crust of ice. It sparkled beneath the sun and crunched underfoot. I glanced at Cain, trying to figure out if he knew the man. ... He knows him. I have the feeling he does, because normally this man is, in general, he's not very talkative, but he always shows when he's not having someone by being very defensive and hostile. And the fact that he's not saying anything says a lot. For a second, something like this content flashed across his face. Yes. Y'all, because of that thought that he could have a hidden agenda, perhaps he knows this man, and maybe he knows him from the past, considering we don't remember. Maybe we were close to this man, and maybe Cain knows that if we get close to him, he won't be capable to get anything out of us. Maybe. For a second, something like this content flashed across his face, but then he leveled Romanov with a hard stare. Damn, son! Gently, Cain took me by the shoulders and pushed me behind him so he stood between me and Romanov. Okay, y'all, you can tell me whatever you want, but he is the best out of all of them because he's actually active. And in my eyes, even if he has a hidden agenda and everything, he still seems to be protective over us. Because I don't know if it's like a normal thing from where you all are coming from, but where I come from, no one actually does anything for anyone. You must really have powerful feelings for someone if you're actually active. Everyone around me, they don't move a single finger. Even if someone that you care about is being hurt or something, they can't even comfort you with words where I'm from. So this is something out of the ordinary for someone to do. So in my eyes, he cares, and that's why he's willing to protect us. Maybe he's sizing in up and down, and he's like, maybe he could be dangerous to us, or he could be dangerous to her, so I'm willing to get in between right now. A natural move for someone used to protecting others from any and all danger. Yes? But for it to come from an angel, the gesture felt so human. Intuitive, protective, and anxious. I keep on saying this man was an unclaimed, because it does not make sense. His personality traits resemble more a demon. I heard a lot of people thinking that it could also be possible that this man is a hybrid, but I have the feeling he used to be an unclaimed. That's why he shows more human feelings. Like, if I remember Heaven's Secret, the first book, all of them were completely fascinated with any type of human emotion. Like us showing emotions from both angel and demon, and they're like, yeah, it's normal because you're an unclaimed and you haven't chosen a side yet. So a specific type of emotions are being expected from demons and from angels. Like I could actually get hurt, and like he genuinely wanted to prevent that. I say he truly cares, even if it's with a spark of hidden agenda because we could be useful to him. I think he still cares. Maybe we remind him of someone that he cared about, or maybe we were the person he cared about. But considering the fact, I'm gonna put my theory in there. Maybe our character and Cain were close before the collapse. And when they all collapsed at the ground and we were one of the few people that survived, this man, I know it's not the Vampire Diaries, but maybe this man grew cold because there were a lot of people that he lost that day, and he became cold and distant. And now every time we're around, we remind him of the person he used to be before he became cold and distant. And he likes the fact that we are capable to still evoke those emotions, because no one wants to be numb. No one wants to be motionless. We all want to cling on to our humanity because we're alive, we're not dead. So he likes the fact that we are still capable to awake emotions inside of this man, and that's why he feels protective over us, and that's why he wants us to be safe. It could be possible that we could still be of use to him, and that's why he's more inclined to immediately send everyone to hell, okay? But in my eyes, there's also this instinct to protect us, and that's not something that just happens like that. I think he truly cares. If Cain had always been like this, understandable and human-like, dealing with him would have been easier. Enea and Pylon felt very different. They were cold and arrogant, but their eyes didn't have that blood-red glint, and their smiles didn't inspire fear. Cain's a blind spot. No matter how much you study him and try to understand him, he stays a blurred shadow, hidden and hard to understand. Even now I can't figure out what's going on in his head. But somehow being next to him, that doesn't seem so important. When he looks at me, I feel alive. It's like his gaze shocks my stopped heart into beating again. Cain occupies your thoughts. He does. He is very intriguing. But I feel like if I say intriguing, it's like I want to study a human being, you know? Like your every emotion fascinates me, and I want to study you in order to figure you out. You know, like those rats running through mazes. No. Like, I don't think any human being should be studied or something, but there are humans that intrigue you because you develop that kind of attachment to them. And when you develop an attachment, you want to be close to that person. And when they push you off and they don't really give you a reasonable reason for them doing that, you are intrigued by that person. And you're like, why are they behaving like this? There is no reason for that. I just want to be close to you. Why are you pushing me away? It doesn't make sense. And that literally makes your interest in that person grow and grow, because you want to know why they behave like this. There's also this kind of interest towards that person. That's not just you being curious on what happened to them because you're curious. You're interested in that person because everyone has like those moments where they're mysterious, because you don't want everyone to know everything about you, you know? There are like things that you want to keep to yourself. And the more you care about someone, the more you want to know about their backstory. You want to feel closer to them. And only, in my eyes at least, I only truly open up to the people that I feel are worthy of knowing what happened to me. You know, those people that I know will remain by my side after they know my full story. Romanov, the owner of the estate, suddenly appears deep in the forest with a gun. Are there really no better places to hunt? Cain was in no hurry to start the conversation. He's like, you can leave, bitch. Silently waiting for the man's next move, he occasionally glanced over at me as if to check whether I was okay. No, stop, y'all, I'm melting. I'm melting, I'm dying. Boris Romanov's welcoming gesture went unnoticed, but this didn't seem to bother the man at all. He casually lowered his hand without removing the benevolent expression from his face. Well, I can see you are very wary of me. Rest assured, the shot was accidental. An accidental death would have happened, son. In this wilderness, the last thing I was expecting was people falling from the sky. He's not gonna be living with that one. He went quiet for a moment, and in the silence the dull whistle of the wind rushing between the trees became louder. Then the branches creaked, and bright red spot appeared from the depths of the forest. Huh? Pylon's wings were not suited for winter. They were too bright and attracted attention, keeping him from hiding even deep in the woods. And Nea, on the other hand, was too distinguishable from the snow. Are they following us? Oh, hell no. She had apparently been standing by the snow-dusted spruce trees for some time, but I only now noticed her outline. Looks like the shot got their attention. What's weird is that they came from different directions. I thought that they worked together. But going by their behavior, they don't really seem to like the arrangement. Their fault, not mine. The immortals came closer and Boris involuntarily took a step back. To the locals, there's still something unknown and dangerous, especially when there are 3 of them and all of them are intimidating. I mean, Palin looked over at Romanov, examining the owner of the estate. Y'all, like, to be quite honest, if I would come across people like that, like, I am innocent, I did nothing wrong, I'm like this cutie pie, and then 3 very tall, intimidating people are standing in front of me, quite intimidating, like their presence, they have like the strong stance, they're literally staring down at me condescendingly. Goodbye, like I would leave. Goodbye, have a nice time, y'all. The gun caught his attention and the demon said, Locals shouldn't go this far out, especially now. This part of the forest is too close to the rift, and there are no traps here. Although, if you're that sick of life, then I suppose why not? Damn! Damn, son! Damn! She is so pretty, I have to say. I keep on repeating it. She's so pretty. There shouldn't be anyone here at all. The squad made that perfectly clear. And I'm not part of the squad, bitch. Don't get me wrong, I heard the warning, but I had no choice. Wolves have reduced the available hunting grounds, and the constant patrols have driven the animals farther into the mountains. Maybe the immortals don't need to eat, but mortals do. I mean, immortals still need to eat. They just don't need to eat that often like humans because they're already dead. Romanov's voice sounded soft and gentle, yet clear and insinuating at the same time. He forced him to listen to every word. Suddenly, a strange feeling made everything inside me clench, and the trembling spread throughout my body. The sensation was overwhelming. I swayed to the side, unconsciously clutching my aching stomach. How awful. What's happening to me? Cain held me by the arm, helping me stay on my feet. He seemed just as surprised as I was. Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. Like, I want to believe in the good. Sue me. I want to believe in the good. I want to believe that this man truly cares about us. And he actually seems that he does. In my eyes, this man means well. Are you alright? Without him, I'd definitely be falling over right now. He can probably feel me shaking. I'll lie and say everything is fine and he'll let me go. But is it worth it to rush things? I feel strange, son. I feel strange. Like I'm dizzy, but for no reason. It'll probably pass in a moment. I doubt that, bitch. Like, sometimes she's too stubborn for her own good. Like, I understand that I'm like that too, but sooner or later you just have to accept defeat. My voice sounded dull and lifeless. Hearing it, the angel put his free hand on my other shoulder and pulled me closer, letting me lean on him. Girl needs time to recover. She fell a great distance and almost died. Something like that can take a toll on the mind. Let her body work through the stress. I noticed Ania casting a worried glance at Cain. Neither she nor Pylon saw me fall. They're acting too calm and casual. They definitely have a few questions otherwise. Oh, perhaps they know about his condition, why he suddenly disappeared into a pile of smoke? I'm sorry. I should be more careful. Cain said it very quietly. One might have thought that he truly felt guilty. One may have thought, so he doesn't? The angel's warm breath brushed against my ear, and his lips almost touched my cheek. I believe he truly cares, because the way he looked at us when he caught us and was like, oh, thank goodness, you're fine, makes me actually think that he truly feels guilt and remorse that we had to go through that moment. He watched me carefully, then raised his hand to my neck and carefully pulled away the cloth. Butter? Yes, a little. His fingers lingered on my skin. I could feel the softness of their touch. Oh, you can stay there. It's completely fine, son. Cain hesitated to remove his hand, or perhaps he didn't want to. Your hand can stay, babe. It can stay. Or maybe he just wasn't sure what to do next. The angel already made a tremendous effort trying to help a mortal. And dealing with the fragile human body, suddenly the fingers became more assertive, bolder. Cain's hand slid to my ear and carefully tucked in the wayward strands of hair. Cain carefully moved his fingers further, smoothing out the windswept mess. Letting all my unnecessary thoughts float away, I pressed my forehead to his chest, timing my breath to the measured stroking. Although he can be arrogant, he's there when I need him. Like now, he's ready to help and lend a shoulder. And can we actually compare his romantic choices with the choices of others? We chose a romantic choice last episode after we got tortured by the 3 bitches, and Greg's romantic choice meant him actually still complaining to us and trying to get information out of us because he's suspicious, and the romantic options with Cain here just show him in a more human way. This man is my favorite. You all can think what you want. This man is mine. I want this man. Because yes, he can be arrogant, but in my eyes, people that are the most arrogant, people that show the most negative personality traits, are those with the biggest hearts. Because not everyone can actually deal with all that negativity that's going out in this world. So in order not to die or to commit suicide, people choose to allow that darkness, that negativity, to change them into a different person, as in we're more in touch with our negative personality traits, because that's the only way we're gonna be capable to deal with all that negativity that life or people throw at us. And considering the fact we don't want to be like this and we're forced to behave in a way that isn't like us, that makes us even more out of control. It makes us sassy, it makes us rude, it makes us become hurtful, it makes us become this dark figure as in a shadow of who we used to be. And that's what people notice first. They look at you. That's the normal thing to do for a human. You look at people around you and you are judging them. I don't know, my gosh, he's so fat, my god, she is so nervous, it's ridiculous, this man is so dumb, I can't. We have that tendency, we like to judge people. And you, as the person that needs to absorb all of that negativity that people throw at you, if you aren't strong enough, if you don't have that backbone, sooner or later it will come to haunt you. And you will have to make a decision. For the pure-hearted people, we need to absorb that negativity, and it will turn us into something we're not. Because the pure-hearted people, we want to remain pure-hearted. We want to be kind, thoughtful. And in this lifetime, with all those negative people around us, it's not easy to do. It's impossible to do. So sooner or later, we will allow that negativity to turn us into a bad person in the eyes of others, But we don't want to be a bad person. We don't want to show all those negative personality traits. But in our point right now, we don't really have that much of a choice. We can't choose to be like this kind person that we used to be. Because if we do, sooner or later, we will give in to despair and we will commit suicide. Because no human being is capable to deal with that much negativity without getting one moment of positivity. If you only get negativity, sooner or later, you will commit suicide. That's a normal thing to do for a human being, because no one can live with just negativity in their lives. So, considering the fact that pure-hearted people don't want to be that dark version, that frustration that they can't do anything else but to be that negative person makes them become worse as time goes on. Because they don't want to be, but they know that they can't help but to be this negative version or that shadow of who they used to be in order to survive. And that's what people see as like a bad person, but they're actually pure-hearted people. So people with the most negative personality traits, as in negative people like those bad boys, etc., those people that show more dark personality traits, they are the real pure-hearted people. So I say Cain is pure-hearted, and that's why he's my favorite. Like, I want to know who hurt him that much in his past that he said that he needed to become this dark version, you know? Like, now he's ready to help and lend a shoulder. But the apology is not proportional to the danger he put me in. I looked at him. Cain didn't fully understand what would happen to a human falling from such a height. A human who had accepted her imminent death only to miraculously avoid it, and who was now trying to calm the panic rising from inside her. His hand squeezed my shoulder tighter. Are you sure Sir, you can't promise that? You can't promise that. It won't happen again. Don't worry. He actually is planning to carry us in the air, y'all. Because this is like, it won't happen again. As the next time, it won't. I promised that I would protect you. The angel loosened his grip, and I felt the headache subside. Feeling that I could stand steadily on my own again, I straightened up. Suddenly there was an unpleasant hissing sound. It took me a second to realize where it was coming from. Cain took the transponder attached to the back of his belt and answered it, taking the call a few steps away from us. The static sounded again. Right now, someone else can deal with this one. Ooh. The red eyes, he's not having it. Sir, if you are not really the person to go with someone controlling you, with someone telling you what you have to do, why don't you just say screw the squad? This is definitely Dimitri telling him to come back or something. I understand. Yes, I'll do it. The radio went quiet. When he returned, his expression darker than a storm cloud. Anger and irritation seethed inside him, and he didn't even try to hide it. The spawn have gotten into the city. Someone tried to trap us again. Apparently, this time a local was injured. How is he? There are trails of blood leading deep into the forest somewhere around here. Cain gestured at the clearing and the surrounding area. Then Dimitri would have contacted us. So it's nothing serious. I felt an almost tangible sense of disappointment. Obstacles were popping up along my path far too regularly. Just as before, as soon as I found myself fascinated by something interesting, everything else fell by the wayside. I ignored my own needs, my loved ones, and my common sense. Whereas Romanov quickly started getting ready, putting his snow-covered equipment back into his pack. Wait, we flew here specifically to close in on deciphering the book. Isn't that the most important thing right now? Yes and no, girl. Like, if you want to be eaten by the spawn, alright then, stay. If only the rest of the squad were even remotely good at their jobs, that would be the case. Sorry, I just love him. The sassiness. But I was... Taking out the Book of the Apocalypse from the inner pocket of his jacket, Cain handed it to me. Here you go. I think you can handle it without me. The main thing is that they stay here. As soon as I felt the book in my hands, the questions disappeared. It was mine again. It belonged to me. Maybe not for long, but for the time being, I was its owner again. And Nia, who had been watching in suspicion from the beginning, raised her voice. Wait, what do you mean? She turned to him, but Cain had already taken flight. He said, not now, bitch. Without taking his eyes off me, he smiled and beat his wings, rising even higher. What? He turned away only when he was so high in the sky that it was hard to make him out. I love it! Bitch, I don't have to tell you anything. I don't have to tell you shit. Why did you come here? Unable to interrogate Cain, she switched to me. I don't have to tell you shit, ma'am. You're not the boss of me. You're not gonna get any answers out of me. Boris had almost finished getting ready, and Pylon watched everything from where he leaned against a nearby tree. To translate the book I need. Oh, I knew it. More information about heaven. And Cain told you that we wouldn't mind sharing it with mortals. Realizing she was right, Nia confidently perched her hand on her hip and raised her eyebrows, waiting for my answer. What's with the hostility? Isn't the translation of the book beneficial to everyone? Why fight it? The squad has one common goal, doesn't it? And aren't you helping people even now? We are. Translating the book will not help heaven in any way, and the rest doesn't matter to me. Cain can't waste his time chasing riddles, but don't count on me to help. Hush. Rising sharply, Romanov jerked the gun off his shoulder and aimed it somewhere in the bushes. He began to turn slowly as though following an invisible target. Nia and Pylon were watching the same moving point in the depths of the forest. I get why Cain was like, yeah, you can try talking to those bitches, I won't. I strained my ears, trying to understand why everyone was so alert, but apart from the wind, I couldn't make out a sound. Boris carefully put his finger on the trigger. Something was rapidly approaching us. Oh, great. Are they going to shoot? I can shoot your head and the being as well, sir. Like, get out of the sight. He's wounded. I'll have to. The seconds dragged on forever. Romanov closed one eye and held still. Something startled the birds. Crows flew out of the forest towards us. Cawing alarmingly, they fled out into the sky. I flinched at the sudden noise and stared into the shadows between the tall trunks. Somewhere very close by, the sound of dry branches snapping cracked the air. Then I saw the huge silhouette rapidly approaching us. The beast roared, exhaling clouds of steam that streamed behind it. Oh God. It rushed ahead so fast that none of us could possibly have time to react. The beast was going straight for Boris, who waited without pulling the trigger. The flesh at its side was torn open, and dense red blood dripped from the wound onto the snow. Can animals also turn into those abominations? Mad with pain, it let out a guttural roar, knocking down brittle branches in its path with its horns. A little further and it would trample the hunter under its hooves. A shot rang out. I flinched. A dull echo spread through the forest, and then everything went quiet again. The animal fell onto the white snow, dead. Its eyes filled with pain went dark. Damn. God damn it. Romanov took off his gun and approached the elk, gently placing his palm on the animal's still warm muzzle. You'll better off this way. He has such a pure heart. Like, he literally has this look as I didn't want to do it, but I had no choice. The immortals approached the carcass, examining the wound. It looked terrifying and blood kept oozing out from it. And he's the victim. With an injury like that, survival would have been unlikely. It would only have suffered for some time. It even ran, leaning on one side with the last of its strength. Nia shook her head and took out her responder, informing the rest of the squad what happened. We need to bring him back to the city. We can't let the meat go to waste. Sir, can you even eat from that thing? First off, second off, what a horrible thing to say. Giving in to the impulse, I approached the dead animal, spread out on the white snow. It looked so defenseless. I felt emptiness. We always feel emptiness, but something like sadness. Like, this is me, y'all. That's not her. This is me. I feel sadness. Like, all that negativity is not necessary in life. The feeling came in a flash and quickly faded away, but it was enough to make my heart feel heavy. It was something I hadn't experienced in a while. Yeah, she's numb. Something forgotten stirs in you. That's something I said for so many episodes, and they're finally talking about it. She is numb because she's seen so many horrible things that she grew numb to all those horrible things like death and everything. I want to make her feel again because numbness is not a good way to go through life, even if it can help while you're trying to heal from past trauma. It's not a good way. If you have the possibility to actually start feeling again, feel, girl. Feel. It was exhausted before it died. The poor animal didn't deserve an end like that. Taking a thick jute rope from his backpack, Boris wrapped it around the animal's neck and stood up, addressing the immortals. Could you help me? It'll be tough to drag the carcass all the way to the city from here by myself, and leaving an animal here is inhumane. May his meat feed those who cannot provide for themselves. Romanov glanced between the demon and the angel. Both of them stood with intent expression, pondering what to do. Anya was the first to speak. I have a task. I won't risk failing it. I see. I won't insist. She looked at her partner. Palin's been looking thoughtful ever since I mentioned deciphering the book. And now he's hesitating to answer. Is he not sure what to do? Anya grew noticeably nervous. Well, why are you so quiet? I feel like she's gonna be the bitch. She's gonna be the bitch trying to manipulate everyone to do as she says. No, ma'am. I wouldn't be so adamant about that. You're not going to leave me to do this alone. Yes, he will. Palin shrugged and Ania leaned forward, trying to convince him. See? The general said to check this area before going around. How am I supposed to do this by myself? That's not my fault, girl. Look at her. She's a little bitch. Oh, y'all, no. She reminds me of those people that want to have control so badly, but they don't get it, so they try to get control in the squad. Like, a lot of squads make those little groups to surround areas, etc. And when that person is being placed in a group of 5 people, she tries to be the chef, even though all of them have the same rights, because all of them have no right when they stand in front of the general. Snap out of it. You know what's more important. It's important for Ania to follow the order because there'll be negative consequences for her otherwise, meaning the general has something over these immortals and he can use that to get them to follow him. I wonder what sort of thing would make Ania do the bidding of a mortal. Having already wrapped the free end of the rope around his elbow, Boris silently waited for them to make a decision. Ania isn't on board, but if the two of them split up, maybe I can get him to talk to me. I'll help. After all, someone has to get our precious cryptographer back to town safe and sound, right? I kind of like Pylon. I love this. No, y'all, to be quite honest, they all are something else. I've never seen angels with red eyes. Red eyes always were a demon quality, like specifically Lucifer's quality. When he was insanely upset, his eyes became red. Like when Malbonte was insanely mad, his eyes grew dark, as in black. Pitch black. Her eyes, she's an angel, her eyes are red. What is going on? Are they actually, to be quite honest, I don't want to go with that idea, but it could be a possibility. Like, this is always something that I wanted to have in a supernatural show. Humans being that crazy, in general, in the head and power crazy, they are literally using some kind of DNA and they're experimenting on humans with, I don't know, angel wings. You know what I mean? Like trying to merge specific type of DNA, and the humans that they're experimenting on become the first one of a kind. They actually give off the feeling that they were some kind of experiment, and that's why they show both, you know? Damon, you're up to something. Whatever. Do what you want. You can leave, bitch. But don't expect help from me after that. No one wants you around with that ugly attitude, bitch. You can leave. Bye-bye. Without waiting for Pylon's response, Ania flew up and disappeared behind the tops of the fir trees. It will be easier to grab the carcass by the legs. Wading through huge snowdrifts and piles of branches that whipped us in the face was really tiring. The man walked ahead without tiring, but I had to slow down more and more every minute. The elk carcass dragging along the ground left behind a deep red furrow, making my path a bit easier. But breathing had gone ragged a long time ago, and now, with each step forward, I felt myself gradually losing strength. I haven't felt this much tension in my body in a very long time. Training at the base was once a regular part of my routine. The one I got used to reluctantly, to be quite honest, but you know what? Eagerly. Because we were ambitious. Aching in the muscles after training was a familiar sensation. The exercise itself was a pain reliever. It chased away the restless and unnecessary thoughts, forcing me to focus on the moment. You loved the physical activities back at the base. It gave you strength. Training had become addictive to me, especially when my work on the base had started to consume me. I always gave it my all, harder and faster, also that I could quiet my mind. But now all that conditioning is gone. It'll take time to get it back. Palin was silent almost the entire way. He stopped only when I would lag too far behind. Boris, having wrapped a rope around his torso, was visibly straining as he dragged the elk. I saw how hard he bent over to tighten the knots on its neck and how his hair stuck to his wet forehead and over his eyes, obscuring his vision. Not much farther. I have a hunting lodge nearby. I'll cut the carcass up there. Whatever you say. The journey through the forest took about 2 hours. We had to go around an icy river and a few steep slopes. If someone hadn't been a bitch, we would have been there faster. Gradually, the tall trunk started to thin out. We came out into a clearing flooded with sunlight, and in the center stood a small structure that resembled the estate where the squad was staying. Beautiful, isn't it? I nodded silently, peering at the area around me. A woman came out of the building, fuzzily lifting her long skirt. She hurried toward us, tripping into the snow with every other step. My goodness, he said he went after her hair, but he brought back an elk. Boris smiled warmly as she approached. What a wound, my God. What did that? The spawn. Oh, what a girl. Chill to the bone, and then on the sides. Hurry up, let's get you inside. She's always like this, pay her no mind. The man smiled discreetly and pulled the rope toward himself. The elk was taken into the backyard and then covered with a trap. Palin, who dragged the elk without a rope, went to wash the sticky blood from his hands. I had to go inside too. Waiting for the demon, I sat down on a sofa not too far from the entrance. Boris Romanov left the hall. He looked refreshed, and his hair was once again well-groomed and neat. He carried a hot drink in his hands. A pleasant smell spread throughout the room. He approached and handed it to me. On instinct, I straightened up, not liking the idea of talking to him while hunched over. Ooh. Is this alcohol? Unfortunately, I can't offer more at the moment, but if you want to stay a while, Liuba will definitely cook up something delicious. Thank you, but we have to go. I love the outfit I bought for her. A smile appeared on Boris' face again, then one was more restrained. He sat down next to me and crossed his legs. All his actions were confident, leisurely. They exuded strength and influence. His whole image carried a natural authority. To be honest, I thought that your squad had already left the city. Don't think that I'm driving you away. Thanks to the traps, the city was able to breathe easy, and the people are grateful to you. I took a sip and looked away. The taste was unusual and reminded me of an interesting mixture of tea and berry compote. Still, I can't seem to recall your face. Were you not with the squad before? I don't want to stand out. It's much better to act from the shadows. I need to come up with something boring, something ordinary. My answer is, I have a forgettable face, right? I arrived later. I had to finish something up. I arrived in the city after the rest of the squad did. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Simona. Nice to meet you, Simona. I took another sip. Palin still hadn't returned. How weird would it be to ask him about the rift right now? It's better to wait. If he's the owner of the estate, then I'll definitely have a chance to talk to him later. Keeping it simple and polite will do for now. Talk to Boris. Why not? I was surprised when you introduced yourself as the owner of the estate. I thought the owners abandoned it or were long dead. But now I see why it's been preserved so well. Keeping up with such luxury in a world in ruins must be difficult. This is my legacy, so I have to. I nodded and, trying not to show interest, said, I've never seen you there. That's not surprising. I almost never lived on the estate, even though I tried to avoid the place. That was information that I could cling to, and I tried to make a surprised and interested face full of sincerity. How come? Romanov lowered his gaze. He fidgeted with his big ring, flickered it back and forth between his knuckles. That's what I do, y'all. I think now is not the best time for long stories, and you can't fit your whole life in a few words. Maybe some other time. Your friendship with Boris has improved. Okay. I fell silent, slowly finishing the drink. A few minutes later, Pylon came out, and we said goodbye and left the hunting lodge. We reached the rest of the houses much faster. The cleared snow made the walk a lot easier. Before we reached the estate, I need to get something out of Pylon. He came with us for a reason. I'll at least try to find out why they don't want to tell mortals about heaven. Speaking of the book, I've been waiting for you to finally ask. To decipher the language, I need information on the world, order, and culture it was created in. Yeah, I see. Let's get to the point so that everything is clear to everyone, okay? You're in a difficult position. You need information about the immortals, and there aren't many of them around. Cain won't tell. He sent you to us for a reason. I believe he isn't aware of what happened in heaven. And he also won't tell you anything. She's principled and proud and will only act when there's been some sort of agreement. Besides, she doesn't like Cain. And out of the three of us, he is the most interested in having the book translated. Maybe she doesn't like him because he's like, I don't like you like that. And now she's petty. I'm the only one left, though I don't see the point in helping you for free. But I'm willing to make a deal that's beneficial for both of us. Well, what can I give you? What are you offering? You live with Anna in the same room. She has a small capsule that I really need. Promise that you will get it to me, steal it, borrow it, take it, pretend to break it. I don't care, just as long as you don't mention me. And in return, I will tell you anything you need to know. So how about it? It's not like you have many options though, right? Sir, you just had to mention that it was Anna. You just had to mention it was Anna. After the bullshit you pulled? After the bullshit she pulled? After putting that nail into my vein? After putting that thing into my vein? Everything. Should I have expected anything different from a demon? A deal that benefits both of us. There are no other immortals in the city, but the squad is going to return to the new base later. Maybe there will be someone like Pylon and Nia there too. Besides, I don't know what kind of capsule he wants me to steal, and I also can't trust everything he says. It'd make more sense to ask Cain for details, or if they obey, the general. Apply pressure through him? No. This man can't be trusted. They mentioned some kind of agreement several times, though. I'm going to assume that getting info about heaven's structure isn't a part of it, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Are you offering a deal in the human sense or as a demon? What happens in case of non-accomplice or fraud? If you violate the terms, I will end your life. I'm not at all interested in resurrecting the world from the ashes, neither yours nor mine. You'll figure it out for yourself. It's the only option you got, girl. The low, bare little houses gave way to larger, elaborate ones. Pylon and I had entered the main square of the city. There were more people here, so I had to strain my voice for him to hear me. I need to think about it. Wilfo stands only here and now. I'd be stupid to take it. The fact that he's rushing me just confirms that. But considering we're stuck in this town, he's right, I have no choice. In that case, I'll pretend to agree. Oh, god damn it. I'm gonna agree. Please, Pylon smiled. And it's a small test tube with a pale green liquid inside. It's in a small suitcase on the right. You will immediately know it when you see it. A small test tube with a pale green liquid. Okay. You don't have to worry. Just get it when you have the chance. Understood. Well, what do you want to know about heaven? We had almost passed through the square. There wasn't much time left to talk. I handed him the notebook and asked him to... A demonic alphabet? Always. Nowadays, common is more often used in heaven. But some especially ancient and powerful demons still use demonic. Though it is rare and not widely known. We stopped by one of the houses. Pylon leaned on the railing and opened the notebook wider. You probably need Old Angelic, but I'm not sure if there's anyone left who uses it. For now, what you know is enough, and write approximately how these letters should be read. I also need a couple of lines with translation. Done. Is this good enough? I took the notepad from him. Doesn't look like the characters in the book at all, but I'll have to do some digging. 3 men dressed in monastic robes walked by us. Their hands and ears were red from the cold, but none of them covered them up. They were talking loudly enough to attract the attention of onlookers. They had heavy and dissatisfied expressions on their faces. When we drew near, I heard a snippet of their conversation. Will the Lord accept this? Maybe it was a sign. No, think of the best. The squad is looking for Nick, but everyone seems to have forgotten about the missing monk. No one from the monastery even asked about him. I put the notebook in my jacket and we moved on. They turned to look at us, following Pylan's bright scarlet wings with their eyes. Some looked with admiration, others spat on the ground at the sight of the immortals. Their reactions were similar only in one way. Creatures that different from us couldn't possibly leave anyone indifferent. The closer we got to the estate, the more clearly I realized what I had just done. Pylan will expect me to fulfill the contract. Having gotten the information I wanted, I started thinking about how I could avoid the consequences. You can. This has happened many times before. In a fit of excitement and eagerness, I'd lose my head, and when I got what I wanted, I kicked myself for the choice I made. The thought that nothing changed was depressing, overwhelming. I would always think to myself, never again, only to find myself in the exact same spot. The fact that she's so worried that something could happen to her in that place, something always will happen. They literally are forcing her to stay. They drugged her and she's still worried about what they'll do. Once again, I regretted what I'd done. I should have waited for Cain. And why did Pylan think he didn't know enough about heaven? Maybe I could get him talking. It's unlikely he'll openly talk about another immortal, but it's worth a shot. Cain isn't like you, Anania. Clearly doesn't leave your thoughts. He doesn't. He's fine as fuck. Why are you avoiding each other? How does this question relate to the world of heaven? It doesn't. I just wanted to see if my guess was correct. Pylan didn't answer. We started going up the steps. I thoughtfully ran my hand over the mane of the stone lion, and the snow fell in clumps at my feet. A hunch suddenly dawned on me. Are fallen angels a human invention? No, they are stripped of their wings and live their lives on earth as mortals. Stripped? Guess that option is off the table. But there are still outcasts, those who run from their own history, living heaven of their own free will. At least so I've heard once. Do you think he's running from something? From himself, probably. Damn, son. Damn, you did not have to be like that. But, I mean, it's a possibility. Like all of us. I mean, I'm actually curious to what this little bitch Dimitri could have on immortals that they feel that they need to do this man's bidding. Pylan went under the canopy of the estate and held open the door for me. His face was half hidden in shadow. Red eyes flashed behind the demon. Oh my god. Oh my god. What did Dimitri ask you to do? What did this man ask you to do? Who did you have to torture? I'm sorry, he's fine as fuck. I will never stop thinking that this man is my man. Y'all, to be quite honest, I come to the point where I actually feel bad when they need to kill people. Because in my eyes, if we know who Dimitri really is, they don't really get the choice. They can't make a choice for themselves. They are forced by Dimitri. Dimitri is forcing their hand, and they feel that trapped that they need to do things that they don't feel comfortable with. They literally need to give up on their beliefs, on what they want to do, on who they want to be, because if you take someone's life, it does something to you, y'all. You taking someone's life, and you are someone that truly cares about life, you respect life and you respect people, you having to kill someone because someone is forcing your hand, it can do something to you. Like the stress, the frustration, and the rage, because you know you can't do anything about it, but you don't want to. This is like you fighting your own beliefs and who you want to be, because this is like an option. You are someone that values life and you think life is holy, so you don't want to kill someone. And someone forcing your hand and saying you have to kill them or else, this is like you having to give up on your beliefs. So I kind of feel bad for Cain because he got red eyes and he had this dark aura around him after he finished the call with Dimitri. So that means that this man was forcing Cain's hand. and getting him to do something that he didn't want to. The angel came out from behind a column, and Pylon turned around in surprise. Cain walked silently, almost gliding along the surface. I feel so bad for him. I didn't notice you there. Were you waiting for us? Oh, Pylon is not having the bullshit. Oh, God. Oh, my God. He is so fine. Y'all, kill me. No, I only just returned too. The blood of the spawn is all over him. He probably killed it with his bare hands, just like that time at the rift. Cain's eyes sparkled scarlet, but a smile appeared on his face. He was an image woven from contradictions. What did I say? I feel so guilty. Like, this is literally... He is pure-hearted, and Dimitri is forcing this man's hand, forcing him to do something that he doesn't want to do. That exactly makes him give up on his beliefs. Like, the fact that Dimitri is forcing this man's hand is making Cain give up on his beliefs because there is no way out for him. And that's him also giving up his humanity, you know? And that's what makes him become cold and distant. Oh, God. Stop talking about my past. They really don't like each other. They really don't. This is a hatred. Simona, leave us. We need to talk. So he heard he's intimidating. Who knows what's hiding behind the pleasant smile of his... Girl, are you stupid? Have you not seen the fact that this man is completely calm? Like, y'all, like, I'm trying to warn everyone. Like, everyone that has been in a situation like this, be wary, okay? You being in front of a person, they are... like nice, happy, everything, and the next second they are like calm, like too calm. There are like two types of calm. I can be calm and collective, everything, but if I'm calm, too calm, and I'm not even capable to show like any type of emotion, and I'm actually sending you away, that means that I don't want you to see me in that state, and I am that much up in my head, that filled with frustration, with rage, because of what I have to do, because of all the frustration that's building up inside of me. Me asking you to leave is me trying to protect you from the outburst that I am about to have. I don't want you to see me like this, so I'm telling you, please get lost, because I don't want to scare you with that reaction. If someone is kind and they're suddenly calm, too calm, be wary, y'all, they're about to explode. Pleasant smile. This is like the smile before the storm. I'm trying to smile at you so that you don't suspect that I'm about to kill someone. I have a bad feeling about this. Oh, great. We have nothing to talk about. Pylon wanted to pass by, but the angel did not let him. Oh, gosh. Y'all, like, I know that angel and demon have, like, supernatural hearing. Is it possible that he heard about the deal we made with him? With a sharp blow, he pinned the man to the column. Oh, my God. Pressing his forearm on his throat, Cain held him in place. God damn it, Cain. The impact was so hard it felt as though a crack was about to appear behind the demon's back. The angel was stronger, but the difference in their strength wasn't felt from their bodies. Oh my God, but in the energy that emanated from the both of them. So Cain is stronger than Pylon. Cain's rage was quiet. Cold. Oh, God damn it. Y'all, we're about to witness a murder. But at the same time, its viciousness was all-consuming. In its presence, Pylon looked like something that would flutter away in the wind. They want to start a fight? Right here. Girl, let bitches be bitches. Let them fight it out. Oh my God, look at this. See? He doesn't want us to see him like this. That's why he's like saying in the cold tone. I can imagine the scene. He literally is pinning Pylon at the column, like ready to literally, like, I don't know, you can have that image of a wild animal about to slash its claws through their victim. He feels that much rage for Pylon, that much frustration because of what he had to do just now, that he's literally about to unleash the wild beast that's lingering inside of him. He does not want us to see him like this, and that's why he's sighing in a cold tone, almost monotone. Please go in. God damn it, y'all. I would be petrified, and I wouldn't know for who. For this man about to lose himself in his rage, or for Pylon that is about to be the victim of this man's outburst. Simona, go inside. This doesn't concern you. The demon grabbed the hand that pinned him and pushed it away with obvious difficulty. See, this man is stronger. When did you become worried about having witnesses? It's not the first time! Oh my god, y'all. Oh my gosh. She can do what she wants. I should. I'm gonna stay. You want to have that outburst? I'm gonna stay. If I want to share something, I will tell her without your help. He heard, y'all. Oh, hold up. He doesn't know about the deal we made with this man. About him giving us the demonic alphabet. He heard that we asked about Cain and about the fact that we are curious about what happened to him, why he can't stand them and everything. And I think what he hated the most that Pylon said was him saying maybe the only thing that he's running from is himself. He's like, you have no business saying something. If I want her to know something, I will tell her. You make others wonder what you are. Don't be surprised when people have questions. So they know about who he truly is. No matter how much you try to shut everyone up, that doesn't change the past. That's what pisses you off the most, right? This man is the most interesting character in the show. The most interesting character in this book, god damn it. Cain leveled the demon with a warning look. Pylon ignored him, but the stiffness of his body betrayed his anxiety. Oh my god. I felt uneasy and took an involuntary step back. Pylon doesn't know Cain's limits, so he keeps poking at him even though he's nervous. If Cain is really stronger, then he's in big trouble. Cain is stronger. That's why he is so scared, because he knows. And apparently, this isn't the first time that Cain went violent with Pylon. It would make sense why Pylon is like, I don't like him. Maybe Ania and Pylon know of this dark side to Cain, and that's why they are trying to avoid him as much as possible. Cain is insanely impulsive, and he feels a lot of frustration inside of him because he's being forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. He's being forced to give up to his humanity, and he doesn't want to do that, but right now he doesn't see a way out, and that makes the frustration even more powerful. So, considering the fact that we asked something and Pylon answered in his name, he's like, if I want her to know something about me, I will tell her myself. You have no business spreading tea. They're in the same squad. Haven't they trained together enough to know each other's strength? No. Unless one of them joined very recently. Once upon a time, there was a rumor going around in hell that an angel went against his own family. To be quite honest, I'm living for Pylon right now. Spill the tea, sis. Spill the tea. If you should get hurt, I'm gonna be the one making sure that you are taken care of, son. I met Cain's eyes for a moment. He's actually like turning towards us because he doesn't want us to know about his darkness. Oh god. He searched my face trying to read my reaction. See? I read this man like an open book, y'all. I read everyone to filth to learn what Pylon's words invoked in me. See? He doesn't want us to know about his darkness. That's why he's like looking at us, trying to figure out if we're like terrified of what we find out or not. And if we should be scared, he would actually go against Pylon because he doesn't want us to be afraid of him. Uh-oh. Mistrust, interest, or fear and disappointment? Yeah. Since when were immortals so concerned with something so trivial? Not the y'all. To be quite honest, I feel scared. And like I said, I don't know for who, but right now I feel a little fear towards Cain right now, because we have never seen him like this. And finding out that this man actually, this is not just like being impulsive and everything, because you all know I'm impulsive and straightforward. We would know in the last episode, I was not having all that bullshit, but I know when to calm down, y'all. Like the scene that we had afterwards with Greg, where I analyzed this man's feelings and where he was coming from. That was just like 2 or 3 minutes after that huge ass scene of torture. Like, I have that impulsive side to me where I can also become a little offensive, etc. Like, last episode already proved that. But this, sun. Like, this is not just like this negativity, this is like darkness, real darkness. God damn it, y'all. I don't know what to do. That's not all that was being said back then. He's shoveling his own grave, y'all. A silence fell upon us. It was oppressive and made my imaginations run wild with all sorts of terrible thoughts. Your tongue is too long. Your tongue is too long, Pylon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Is he about to cut it off? It must get on the way. The demon chuckled nervously, keeping his wary eyes on Cain. It wouldn't be too difficult for the angel and those rumors to do the very same things to you. But they were only rumors, right? No, they weren't. Not with that grin, they weren't. You tell me. Oh, you want to know even more about... Yo, I would run away. Like, if this man truly cares and doesn't want us to be afraid of him, that he's checking our reaction, if we would run away, he would back off of Pylon. He would. Pylon has hinted that he knows about Cain's past, or has some idea of what might have happened, and Cain looked like he was ready to kill him rather than face the truth again. So he doesn't want to be judged, or is it just too painful to remember the past? You would know about that? What dark secret is he hiding? Girl, do we want to know? The kind that would not let him move on, the kind that tried to drown him in darkness, that dragged him into hell, a special personal hell, therefore the most cruel. Cain looked back at me and sighed irritably. He did not answer Pylon. Yeah, he wants to know our reaction. He doesn't want me to hear. Yeah, he doesn't want us to fear him too. The angel beat his wings and rose into the air, severing behind the estate. A moment later, I heard the rattling of frozen windows. Cain flew into the building without bothering to go through the main hall as ordinary mortals did. I hesitated, watching the demon standing at the column. Should I say something? Noticing my staring, Pylon also took off and headed back into the forest, and no one wants to face that moment. I walked over the remaining steps and approached the entrance. To be quite honest, maybe I'm stupid. I would be looking for Cain. I would be wondering what this man's business was. Suddenly the door swung open and almost knocked me over. I barely had enough time to jump aside, and now found myself hidden in the shadow of the canopy where Cain had stood a moment ago. In a hurry, Dimitri left the estate. The man adjusted his collar as he walked, pulling it tighter to himself. He only managed to make it a few steps before he was stopped by Anna, who ran out after him. The wide open door was letting the frosty air inside the room. And you're going to take off again, but we haven't finished. You keep asking the same thing. Because you don't listen. You forced me to inject her with the until now you won't even let me examine the infected. Oh, what perfect timing to mention me. If I come out now, I'll look like I was eavesdropping on purpose. I'd rather wait until they finish. You only remember me when you need something from me. Donovan. Dimitri turned to face her, and I inched backward, sinking deeper into the shadows. Donovan has enough infected to deal with back at Adam. We've already discussed this. You also just see me as someone who needs to be protected, right? Don't start with this again. Then give me the reason. The entire squad is involved in the search for Nick. I simply don't have anyone to send with you to interview locals. Are you satisfied? Anna opened her mouth, but Dimitri sharply raised his hand, stopping her. Oh, hell no. This man would be doing that to me once. I would be smacking him. I'm not going to let you go alone. She pressed her lips together, peering into the general's face. A barely noticeable crease appeared between her eyebrows, and her gaze shuddered. Damn. Because you don't think I can handle it. Dimitri turned away and sighed heavily. He shook his head, then looked back at her. Because I found something. The man cut himself off and tiredly rubbed the bridge of his nose. He already regretted continuing the conversation. God, you could even make a dead man talk. Okay, that's funny. That's kind of funny. That's funny. What do you mean? I told you once that this city can be dangerous. That's because I accidentally came across some strange documents with Siberia seals. Someone unearthed them from old boxes collected in the office. The base was searching for something in Rotkov. I hadn't heard anything about that. Come to think of it, though, its location was probably chosen for more than just remoteness. Judging by the records, they were unable to find what they wanted to, but the person sent here soon disappeared. I was listed everywhere as Joseph R., but here's what's strange, the locals had never heard of him. Moreover, they said that we weren't the first people to arrive from the base, which obviously can't be true, the documents don't lie. The same can't be said about the sick town, where it seems the people's brains have frozen over. That's why I don't want you to go searching around here alone. Is everything clear to you now? Anna didn't answer. She only nodded thoughtfully and, shivering from the cold, slowly went inside. Dimitri stared after her, then adjusted his collar again and continued down the steps. A few moments later, his black coat disappeared beyond the gates of the estate. Anna's researched the disappearance of a person from the base. It'll be hard to pretend I don't know anything about this. I had to wait a little while before going inside. I crouched and wrapped myself more snugly in my warm clothes. Someone gone missing here before. If it has to do with Nick's disappearance, then it has to do with me. This is also confusing. With my hands in my pockets, I peered at the snow-covered garden that surrounded the estate. Somewhere in the distance, a blizzard was raging, and the white, wiping snow flashed between the trees. The Siberian winter is so different from home. The cold keeps you on your toes, and it's cold. The cold keeps you on your toes, and it cools your head. It doesn't let you relax at all. We heard too much gossip to be calm, y'all. The hall of the estate was empty and quiet. I walked into the room, expecting to meet Anna there. The woman was inside. She stood in the very center of the room, her back turned to me. Anna didn't even twitch when I walked in. She only relaxed her fist, which she had clenched so hard her knuckles were right. All her things were scattered across her bed, and a crumpled blanket lay at her feet. Did something happen? She turned around, looking at me with lifeless eyes. Everything is fine. Your stuff is all over the place. Nervously, Anna kicked the blanket, shoving it under the bed, and the clothes that fell to the floor followed after. Not anymore. It looked like she was trying to get a hold of herself, but her irritation still came across. Emotions had a way of turning aggressive when a person tried to keep them bottled up inside. Now, this is the frustration. Sooner or later, the pain you carry is too much and you just combust. It happened to Anna now. She tried to hold it all in, but to no avail. Dimitri's words didn't convince her. She feels out of place and it's eating at her. Her pride is hurt, and the feeling of being second-guessed is making her antsy and making her mess up. The worst part is that the general allowed this mistrust to trickle out into the rest of the squad. Why do we care? We have not heard an apology. Because you're bad at your job. I need one of you two to accompany us to the church. Dimitri's orders. Aren't you enough on your own? Now that Anna feels like she's been rejected by everyone, she'll trust someone who supports her. Oh, I forgot that Cain said that to Anna in the first episode, I think. I thought he said that to us. It took me a while to understand that it was all said to her. Someone who would make her feel confident that she's right. And even if she saw through someone's plan, she still wouldn't be able to resist the natural human need to be accepted. Against her own will, she would start to seek out approval. Anna tries to suppress her anger, but it won't help. It always feels better to let it out. Don't interfere. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna take any romantic thing or friendship thing until they apologize. Like, it's not gonna make everything that they did to me okay. But at least it shows that they feel remorse. All three of them are guilty in my eyes. They're not getting any kindness from me. The fact that she's worried about her just shows how big her heart is. Then I would have to say my heart is a little smaller than hers. Because I would say, what the fuck? Why should I care about someone that did something so horrible to me? They don't show any sort of remorse. Why would I feel guilty if they're feeling bad? They should feel bad. They're horrible people. She should know how to manage her own feelings. I went to her bed and pulled out the crumpled clothes out from under it. What are you doing? Helping. She yanked a shapeless knitted sweater that I hadn't seen before from my hands. Leave it, I don't need your help. Lots of new things here. Why do you have all this? Faded sweaters, jackets with patches. It was a very strange set of clothing. She sighed and sat down next to me, helping sort out the clothes. I thought I would try pretending to be one of the locals so I could ask them about the infected, but it didn't work out. I exchanged my stuff for these rags for nothing. She brought up the plan herself. Now I don't have to skirt around it. Anna wants more independence, and if I support her, it will weaken Dimitri's authority. This will make it easier for me to reach both of them. Why did you change your mind? That's a good idea. No one knows more than the townspeople. Anna thought over her words, pausing and folding the torn sweaters. Doubts started to form on her face, which meant that sooner or later my words would bear fruit. There was a knock on the door. Come in. The angel appeared in the doorway. Okay, son. We'll be leaving soon. The general's gotten everyone downstairs. I'll be in the living room in a couple of minutes. And Nia mentioned that Dimitri is planning a patrol. Simona, you're staying at the estate with Amir. If you need anything, talk to him. I didn't know who from the squad this name belonged to, but it wasn't that important right now. If I can convince Cain to leave the book with me, I'll be able to compare the symbols to the immortal alphabet tonight. Taking it out of the folded clothes, I approached Cain. Do you want to give it back? I wanted to ask you to leave it with me. I think that I can find out something new. Okay, if that speeds things up, I'm all for it. I didn't expect that to be so easy. That this man is done. Anna and Ira left alone again. Turning away, she started to change clothes. You can't choose the outfit Anna will wear outdoors. What? I can choose what she wears. Why would I want to choose? I'm sorry. No. She is no one to me. No one. Not until she apologizes. The only one I will be kind to is Cain. Greg said it will be a clear night tonight. We'll try to examine as large an area as possible, but if we can't find anything, then we will have to stop searching in the forest. Anna took off her glasses and wiped the lenses with her sleeve. I believe Nick is alive. I can't be otherwise. She took out a stack of clean clothes from the closet and handed them to me. By the way, while you were away, Dimitri put a latch on our door. Now you can get changed in peace. Thank you. Huh. Stamina. Ooh. That's not my style at all. I don't know. Let's go with stamina. It looks cute. A nightmare. That's exactly what it looks like. It's a nightmare. I don't know. Ooh, that's nice. But it doesn't suit with the outfit. You know what? Sleepwalker. We're a sleepwalker. I like the hair. As darkness fell, the squad left the estate. Only Amir and Ira left in the huge building. The young man Anna introduced me to shortly before leaving turned out to be not very talkative. Oh god, now imagine just the silent one next to you. And I don't know, you're like, yeah, I want some water. They just look at you, they stare down at you, and then they slowly get up, like not even their steps are heard. God damn it. He sat in the living room, warming himself by the fireplace and leafing through some old battered magazine. Oh god. Occasionally, bursts of his laughter reached my room, but that didn't bother me. I can finally get to work. Impatiently, I climbed onto the bed and opened the Book of the Apocalypse. Okay. I carefully laid in front of me and placed a notebook next to it where the immortal alphabet was written down. The lighting in the room was dim, and I had to strain my eyes to make out the symbols. Why not lay the light next to the notebook? Or can't you move that thing? I won't last very long working like this. I need to get a candle. but the lamps burning in the room were barely enough to illuminate the space. If I moved even one of them, winter would instantly take over. It would overtake the bedroom walls with cold, cover the glass with ice, and hit the window with a frosty chill. For work, I could ask for a good flashlight, or at least a small lamp. I doubt Amir will say no. We're not asking for a gun, we're asking for a candle. What are we about to do? Set the place on fire? Like, I'm still in here. I'm not that stupid. It was dark in the corridor, and everyone else's rooms were shut tight. There was no light coming from under the doors. They were all empty. A man was sitting by the blazing fireplace. I couldn't see his expression from behind, but the way he spoke was expressive. Ooh, all right. Something happened. I came closer. I need a flashlight. There are several boxes of chem lights behind the heater. Take as many as you need. Chem light, a self-contained short-term light source. Okay. Nodding gratefully, I walked around him and bent over the box with the Siberia logo. The chem light you choose will be used by the main character in the future. A good light shines longer and brighter, okay? Alright. Even though I doubt this is gonna make a huge ass difference, having chosen one, I closed the box and pushed it back into place. This should work. I bent the chem light, and the light rod lit up with a bright neon glow. Thank you. Yep. The living room was filled with a pleasant, somewhat sweet aroma. I hadn't had dinner, and my stomach reminded me of this. If you want to eat, you can take my field ration. I don't eat after training. Field ration, pre-packaged goods consumed by military personnel. I think I should eat. Ooh, this looks so cute. There's water here in the kettle. I boiled it recently, so it's still hot. I thanked him and moved all the contents of the ration onto a tray and prepared everything I needed. He's kinda nice. He's kinda cute. After Amir's prickly gaze, my room didn't seem as cold. Having set the tray on the table, I looked at the pulled latch. Should I close it? Though nothing happened last time, and it's unlikely to actually protect me if anything does. I cleared my mind of all unnecessary thoughts and focused on comparing the alphabet with the symbols from the book. They were different in each section. I had a lot of exciting work ahead of me. Sipping the tea filled my body with pleasant warmth. I moved the chem light across the pages, peering at every line. The light shone powerfully bright. I was able to make out what was written with no problems, even without holding it close to the book. The development team at Adam is pretty advanced, I see. Its neon glow filled the room with light, making the space around much more comfortable. Now I won't have to spend so much time in the church. It was forbidden to take books from the archive outside the monastery. Without additional material, I had nothing to build on when translating, but when there is no longer a need for them. In the sentence Pylon Road, I asked him for several proper names, one of the famous demons or the names of the cities of heaven. There were capital letters in the book, and I hoped to find at least some similarities between the two different texts. Time went on, looking through a page after page. I slowly inked forward. The rest of the world faded into the background. All that worried me, all that occupied my mind, was the mystery hidden within the pages. To be quite honest, even though I'm not having anyone at that place, but apparently we are that focused with this book, I think we should have taken that God option. Why? Because in book 1, we had that problem in season 2 where Vincenzo was killed because heaven was trying to belittle all the demons, trying to make it seem that angels are more powerful because demons had the chance to study in heaven. And they refused to let the demons go after the war between heaven and hell started. So me choosing for him to write down the demonical alphabet, I think that's not going to help us much. After a while, I managed to find several similarities, but I needed something more significant, something that would leave no doubt about the accuracy of the translation. But the first section ended and left me with nothing. I sighed tiredly and looked at the ceiling. Why did I even think I could do it? Maybe the first time was just beginner's luck. My neck ached from hunching over for hours. I had to pull myself away from the book and warm up, which is why the thoughts I had pushed aside began to return. Back then, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to see my own importance through the eyes of others, to be important. But what had actually helped me with the decryption, and why couldn't other people do it? I had asked myself this question so many times. Later, when I couldn't find any suitable explanations, I simply accepted things as they were. What if I never find out what happened to me? I won't be able to help myself or the world. What are these odd thoughts that pop into my head at night? Slapping myself on the cheek so hard that my palm ached, I forced myself to clear my head. Being depressed definitely won't achieve anything. Is she admitting that she's depressed? What's the point in thinking when you need to act? With newfound determination, I sat back on the bed and flipped through the book to the last page. Let's begin. History repeated itself. I didn't find anything new. Everything I read bled together, taking the wind out of my sails. Without much hope, I flipped to a different part of the book and suddenly realized that one of the pages felt denser than the others. Carefully picking up the edge of the sheet with my fingernail, I ran along it, splitting it into two. Amazing! It isn't numbered! My excitement was so strong that I fell short of breath. My eyes eagerly ran over the lines. There were similarities between the text and the phrases written in the notebook. I think I see the word darkness, light, peace. We see darkness. Because that's how I feel right now. Vengeance. Darkness written with a capital letter like a proper name, and then light written in exactly the same way. If I connect the two, there is no good and there is no evil. When the dark accepts the light and the light accepts the dark, what must take place will. That which cannot be avoided. Peace. I felt excitement rising in me and my throat went dry. The key to the first part has been found. Yes, the solution was still far away. Yes, there was a long and grueling road ahead, but this was something. I reached for the mug to wet my throat, but was disappointed to discover that I already drunk everything in it. An incredible thirst came over me. Unable to fight it, I left the room, hoping that Amia had not used all the water in the kettle. Oh gosh, imagine that the book is gone when we return. In the living room, everything was the same as it was a few hours ago. Amir was sitting with his back to me, and the candles were quietly swaying in the wind, casting out shadows on the walls. Only the fireplace was on its last embers. It was already burning out, but the man didn't seem to care. Do we still have some water left? Amir ignored me. Well then, sorry for disturbing your peace. I walked past him in a hurry and reached for the teapot on the table. I think he fell asleep. Relieved that it wasn't empty, I hurriedly filled the mug and started drinking greedily. Amir remained silent. I turned around warily, starting to suspect that something was off. This is not real. Oh my god, who killed him? Like, y'all, this is so cruel. It's always the good ones that die. It's the good ones that always get killed. This is not fair. He was the only one that was remotely kind to us. And how is it possible that we didn't see this man when we were about to fill our mug? What? Amir was dead? His pupils were rolled back and there was a deep laceration on his neck. His features were distorted in fear, frozen on the military man's face forever. How is it possible that we didn't hear this man choke to death? This actually looks like someone actually used this huge-ass rope and actually strung it that hard that this man actually died. You know, like actually being hung, you know? There were no foreign sounds in the living room, but now I could feel danger from every corner. In Amir's hands, the transponder gave a barely audible hiss. Trying not to make any noise, I leaned closer and snatched it from his stiff fingers with some difficulty. His body is still warm, which means that whatever killed him is probably still close by. Great, we're about to die. I'd be an easy target out on the street, but if I lock myself in my room, I might have a chance. Are you kidding me? What if he's already in your room? My heart was beating very loudly. I wanted to reach into my chest to make it quiet down. Slowly, I walked down the corridor. Step by step, I moved away from the corpse and went further into the darkness. Y'all, I'm about to lose it. Trying to slide along the wall as silently as I could, I managed to duck behind the slightly open door and close it. Yo, I don't know what to do. Something creaked in the corridor and I froze. There was a new sound nearby. It's somewhere close, maybe right next door. I pressed myself against the wall next to the doorway and held still, not breathing, not moving, not blinking. I froze, trying to hide my presence. I didn't have time to close the latch. Slowly and silently, the door handle began to inch downward. Oh no! It was so quiet that if I had kept sitting over the book, I most certainly wouldn't have noticed. Without taking my eyes off it, I reached for the candlestick. I had one chance at a surprise attack, and it had to be fatal. Now imagine if we actually kill one from the guards. Now they're actually gonna think we killed Amir. A few more beats of tense silence passed. Having turned all the way down, the handle suddenly inched back up, then it was released. Is it gone? I doubt that, baby. With my hand trembling from tension, I quickly pushed the latch, and it silently slid into place. At that moment, something started banging on the door. The door handle twisted mercilessly, wrenching all the way as the thread tried to get inside. The bolt keeping the door shut was holding tight. The sounds from the other side were incomprehensible. They made my blood run cold. Y'all, I'm scared! Something was slamming against the door furiously. It was beating from below, then from above, as if it was trying to break through it with its whole body. I counted on the flimsy door to hold tight and moved away from it. I pressed the button on the radio. Something's trying to break in. It killed Amir. I've locked myself in the room. The general's icy voice sounded from the other end almost instantly. Wait there. As soon as the radio went silent, so that the noises on the other side of the door, another couple of moments passed before the sound of breaking glass came from somewhere far away. That was the last thing that the thread had left behind. Oh gosh! A couple of minutes later, someone jumped onto the balcony. I shuddered but relaxed when I saw Cain's silhouette behind the glass. Oh my gosh! I noted to myself how angry he looked. Why angry? No, you know what? He looked angry. He was furious. Hastily opening the doors, I let the angel inside. The hair on Cain's face was uneven, and his chest heaved with his heavy breath. Oh, now I understand why they made the choice, how angry he looked. He was not angry at us. He was angry at the being that tried to hurt us. Now I get it. He was about to kill that thing. Are you hurt? Without waiting for an answer, he circled around me and looked me up and down, to make sure that we're fine. Not finding any injuries, he looked at me again. Ooh! Are we seeing the red eyes? Yo, I'm sorry. I love him. Everyone that has hate to Cain, shove it, because this man truly cares. He really does. He actually does. And to be quite honest, I'm kind of shocked with what Dimitri did. Because from the way he's always acting, I would have expected this man to be like, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna allow that thing to actually kill you because you're not of any use, you know? I would have expected him to be like this, but he didn't, so that's kind of surprising, but I still hate him. He needs to die, like everything. Like, that's not gonna change anything. Just that I was surprised that he was like, wait, don't worry, like, reinforcements are on the way. But the fact that Cain is like, where is that son of a bitch? Where is that little bitch? He actually tried to lay his hand on you. I'm about to kill it. Where is it? Love this. This man, no, it's Cain and no one else, y'all. Like, everyone that hates him, you can shove it. This man is the love of my life. He remains. What's going on? Where is it? It was bashing at the door and suddenly went quiet. Then it broke something. There was the sound of breaking glass. I managed to come to my sense, but my lips still trembled. The body could not be commanded to calm down. It acted separately from the mind, of course. I sat down on the bed and tried to stop the annoying shaking. Cain stood very close and quietly touched my chin with his hand. Are we seeing it? I'm sorry, I keep on showing you all the difference. When we do romantic choices with any of the other characters, they still act all bitchy like. When we take a romantic option with Cain, you actually see it's a romantic option. The last time I took a romantic option was last episode with Greg. And what did we get? We felt bad and we also apologized to this little bitch. Even though this man contributed to the fact that we got actually psychologically and physically tortured. We took a romantic option with this man, and this man actually continued to interrogate us as if we were the enemy. When we pick a romantic option with Cain, you actually see it's a romantic option. You actually see that he's slowly letting us in, that he's growing attached to us, that we are becoming a weakness for him, you know? That he's growing fond of us, that he can't allow anything to hurt us. He's becoming very protective over us. Like, you can actually see that. His cold fingers pressed gently on my skin, and the angel raised my head so that our eyes met. Goodbye, I'm dying! I'm so dying! You have nothing to fear. I'm here. The hand went away, leaving me wondering whether it was really even there in the first place. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Yo, I think it's the excitement when you see that someone that rarely shows emotion suddenly shows emotion just with you. And the second someone else comes into the picture, they're immediately all cold-like again. It makes you feel so special. But the spot Cain touched felt pleasantly cool. Cain sees something in you that you don't. Are you kidding me? The red wings flashed at the window. Pylon was here too. Oh! After making sure everything was okay with us, the demon disappeared into the darkness. The creaking of the front door sounded from below. Pylon had entered the estate through the main entrance. We need to inspect the house. Close the door behind me, and don't come out until Ania arrives. Okay. Okay, Daddy. But why? Why wait until the immortals all arrive? I couldn't sleep that night. I sat in the room until the first rays of the sunlight came through the window and then went downstairs. Ania wasn't against me leaving. She didn't particularly like my company. I don't like yours either, bitch. Sitting across from the lifeless body, I peered at the wound, trying to understand what happened to the man last night. Amir is sitting in the same way he was when I first came in here. It looks like he was attacked from behind, which means that whatever it was already in the estate when the squad left. How odd. But wasn't it just the both of us? Amir and us? I was lost in thought and didn't notice that my eyes drooping closed. We fell asleep? The sounds of the squad arriving pulled me out of my half-sleep. They didn't ask me any questions, they just gave me fleeting glances. Some were sympathetic and others were full of hostility. Yeah, we were the ones that killed him. Sue us. Amir's body was taken out of the living room, but his blood was soaked into the chair and now reminded everyone that even the estate wasn't safe. Who was here? I thought it was just the two of us. The rest of the morning, as well as the whole day after, was chaotic. I spent that time in my room, not going anywhere. My head was unusually empty. Last night had drained my strength, and my body strongly resisted any activity. The sun's rays were unpleasant, and the dust that floated around in the room started making me sick. We feel suffocating, because we know it isn't safe. Toward the evening, I tried to talk to Anna. To my question about Nick, she only shrugged her shoulders sadly, meaning they haven't found anything. There are no traces in the estate from whatever killed Amir either. We searched every corner, all empty. What about the glass? I told you something was broken. Anna shook her head. We found nothing. Everything's intact in its place. But I definitely heard the sound. Maybe it came from the street. I don't think so. I asked the guys to look around the estate. I fell silent. Anna didn't speak either. Neither of us felt like talking. I have the feeling they're even more suspicious of us because we're the only ones there. I dozed off without noticing and slept serenely all night. The morning could almost be called pleasant, if not for the creaky voice coming from somewhere close by. I told you 100 times, it's cold here. Opening my eyes, I saw a strange picture. Kira was standing not far from my bed, holding a large and heavy sleeping bag in her hands. Anna watched her with open hostility. There's no draft in your room. You're overthinking things as usual. Sleep there overnight and you'll see what I mean. I checked everything myself. Every crack is plugged up. You don't care. You just don't want me to stay here. I wouldn't want you to stay here either, Kira. Kira turned away, looking down. Her lips trembled, but she pulled herself together. And I should care? Anna shook her head wearily. Everywhere we go, you seem to think so highly of yourself. People just might not care, Kira. Ooh! I wouldn't mind you sleeping with us if there was a legitimate reason for it. But you're just looking for attention again. Ooh! Okay, Anna. Isn't that right? You're still not in my good graces, but I appreciate a good clapback. Feeling my gaze, Kira turned around. She didn't want anyone to catch her like this. She came here with her head bowed, and Anna just showed her the door. Yes, goodbye. I think it hurt Kira's feelings. She looks really upset, and I should care. Having folded the sleeping bag so that it fit into the doorway, Kira hurried out of the room. She got stuck with the bag in the doorway and wrestled with it for some time. The tips of her ears glowed scarlet. She looked like she wanted to hide away as quickly as possible. Finally, she managed to overcome the stuck bag and then left, closing the door behind her. Well, finally, Simona, get ready. Are we going somewhere? To the city canteen. Doesn't the squad have plenty of food? I'm not interested in that, but a girl who works there. By the way, here you go. Can you change into this on the way? You and Anna have a good relationship, so she decided to give you a gift. Okay. It was snowing in the square as usual. People walked past us, immersed in their own worries. Life in the city dragged on slowly, calmly, but always without interruption. For them, a man named Amir didn't die yesterday, none of them had lost a friend, and no treacherous killer tried to break down anyone's door. So they could afford their light smiles, their measured steps, and casual conversations. I looked at the faces of passers-by while I waited for Anna to come around the corner of one of the houses. She put on the items she had traded with the locals over her clothes and was now ready to keep going. Do you remember what we talked about recently? I think you were right. We really should ask the locals. Why didn't you change your clothes at the estate? Well, not everyone's happy with my idea, so I didn't want to attract attention. She put her jacket in her backpack and looked around. I asked around, and it seems the infected person had a sister. If I hadn't been lied to, she should be working over there now. And I pointed to the spires of a low building at the end of the square. Let's go to the countryside. I don't want to run into one of our guys. Don't they know we're gone? Anna walked very quickly, clearly wanting to get to the canteen as soon as possible and avoid meeting anyone who would stop her. We passed the low houses so fast that I could hardly make out one building from another. Anna, on the other hand, managed to navigate us through the area while also talking endlessly about the infected. I listened carefully. We know very little about them. Usually the infected are rare and tend to wander alone, but if you're lucky, you can come across what's called a hotspot. It's when thousands of them gather in one place. No one knows why this happens or how they even find each other, but when they get into the hotspot, the infected start moving together like a single organism. Many cities fell to them. Escaping from the hotspot is almost impossible, so we don't risk getting close. We're tracking individuals and bringing them back to Adam for study, but inside the walls they don't last very long and die off like flies, which means we've made almost no progress in our research. The problem is that they're all people we know nothing about. We don't know who they are, where they come from, what kind of life they led, what problems they faced. It is almost impossible to establish symptoms of infected under such circumstances. Has anyone you know turned into one of them? No, everyone I know. Only Dimitri has encountered it. But he doesn't want to talk about it. No matter how many times I ask, he always brushes me off. And here we've got a great opportunity. Surely this girl must have noticed something. Anna looked up at the sky and said with a smile almost beaming, Still, small towns have their own charms. Oh, hell no. Greg needs to back the fuck off, y'all. I already need to have Anna on my heels. I don't need Greg on my heels too. He needs to leave, like literally. No, Simona. We slowly turned around. Greg came up to us along with another soldier from the squad. Although he didn't look like a soldier at all, what with his pony build and sloping shoulders. Ha ha ha. Or maybe he's just very slouched. Greg smiled in puzzlement, looking from me to Anna and back. What are you wearing? What's wrong? It's strange that you'd suddenly walk around the city wearing something like that. What are you doing here? Anna tried to look relaxed, but she still glanced over at me as though afraid that I would say too much. This was not lost on Greg. I hope you're not doing anything you'll regret later. The only thing you're gonna regret is not leaving before I punch your ass. At least tell me where you're going so Noah and I will know where to look for you. To the canteen. I need to talk to someone there. We were discovered too fast. I couldn't believe that she told them everything that quickly. Cool. Meanwhile, we have to sift through dirty garbage dumping looking for some bloody knives. I won't wish you bon appetit. My neighbor's throat was cut yesterday, by the way, in case you all forgot about this. Noah kicked a pile of snow before turning around and walked away. Greg called out to him, but he didn't turn around. Some partner. You deserve nothing more. I think he needs time to process what's happened. Well, I guess he doesn't mind finishing the search on his own. I'll come along and back you up. What did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? Can't any dream just go well, y'all? Thank you, but we'll manage on our own. Me. It's not an issue for me. Anna and Greg, in the way of old friends, hadn't stopped exchanging jabs. We walked the rest of the way quickly. I'm about to kill someone, y'all. I'm actually gonna be responsible for a death. I can only deal with one of these bitches. The dining room was located on the first floor of a low building. An old peeling sign outside said, "Exchange food for goods." Look a bright grim. The wooden doors opened easily and we went inside. It seemed this place was not very popular because all the tables were free. It's surprisingly warm in here and it smells like incense. It's nice. A young woman sat behind a half-empty counter, visibly bored. Next to her, a thin church candle was burning out. That's where the smell is coming from. The locals put them out in memory of people who have passed. Seeing us, she stood and forced out a smile. She had the name Juliana embroidered on her worn uniform. Good afternoon. Votre? Yes. Hearing the foreign language, Greg looked around in boredom. The conversation was clearly about to go over his head. What do you have to exchange? Opening her backpack, Anna pulled out 3 signed ampoules from her pocket. The woman standing before her was stunned. I'll only take one. We don't have any dishes that are equal to... It's okay. Look how healthy he is. He eats for 3. His muscles don't come out of thin air. Anna turned around and pointed at Greg, who was standing off to the side without hesitation. Juliana gazed at the tall man with embarrassment and awkwardly tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Is she into him? She then put the ampoules into a locked drawer that used to serve as a cash register, going by the look of it. Take a seat. I'll be with you soon. I'll just see what we have left. Anna chose the table closest to the back room, perched in the doorway where the woman disappeared. There was a handwritten menu on the table, which contained only a few items for each category. Interesting. Where do you get the food? They grow it in the basement. Who told you that? Then you see the cables by the entrance. They have lamps and generators below us. Even now I can feel them buzzing. Is it possible to grow something in these conditions? Of course, mushrooms, herbs, seaweed, and some vegetables. Besides, they probably still have some canned food left too. I don't think that everything is so wonderful here. For some people, the canteen's the only place where they can get some food, even if they have to give the last of their possessions in exchange. Interesting. How long will we have to wait? The utility room doors opened and Juliana came into the hall. Spotting our table, she hurried towards us. The young woman took one of the sheets of paper lying on the tabletop and circled a couple of names. Unfortunately, this is all that we have right now. While Anna explained to Greg what was on the menu, I chose the dish for myself. Ooh, it looks nice. Yes. Always meat, yes. After taking our orders, Juliana went into the back room again before returning with 2 large trays in her hands. Painted plates, porcelain saucers, and cups with gold borders lay on the table in front of us. Before the cataclysm, things like this were carefully displayed behind glass. Now they lay in front of us on a peeling, cracked table in an empty, forgotten establishment. Going by what was on the plates, all of us stayed true to our own taste. Greg got meat, and Anna got salad. If you need anything else, I'll be behind the counter. I've been meaning to ask, but didn't dare. There's a candle burning behind you, and I thought, the man whose funeral was recently held in the main square? The lightness and helpfulness vanished from the woman's face. It was my brother. Why? I'm a doctor, and I wanted to know if he had any unusual symptoms before becoming infected. Or maybe he acted strangely. I have nothing to tell you. I'm sorry. Juliana went to leave, but Anna touched her hand and whispered almost pleadingly, Please, I need to know the details. This is too pushy and desperate, Anna. You're going too far. Greg suddenly stood and clasped their hands with a slight smile. Freed from Anna's grip, Juliana recoiled in fear. Greg twirled his finger and at his temple, pointing at Anna, then folded his hands in a prayer position and winked at Juliana. Ah! Is he trying to win her over? As soon as he smiled in his usual charming manner, she visibly melted. Greg's charm has got to be some kind of superpower. At least she doesn't seem afraid now. Awkwardly clearing her throat, Juliana sat down next to them on an empty chair. He had no symptoms. He always drank a lot. It was the main source of all his problems. Near the end, he'd been walking around all gloomily and irritated, but he wasn't complaining about his health. He said he got into a fight with someone from the monastery. Truth be told, he fought with everyone he could, especially after a couple of drinks, and it was up to me to sort everything out. Anna wanted to find out more from her, but she did not get the chance to. Two novices entered the canteen, quietly arguing about something. A meek-looking woman, dressed like an ordinary worker, followed in behind them. It was as if the town itself was protecting its secrets, manipulating events in its favor. I recognized their faces immediately. I had already seen both of them in the square. Ah, yeah. Joseph, get a grip already. It's always the same thing. God sees everything. You know it wasn't my fault. You both need to calm down. There is no point in stowing in bad thoughts. As soon as Juliana saw them, it was as if she became replaced by someone else. She cut herself off mid-sentence and, without any explanation, walked away to the counter. Her face turned pale and her hand started trembling. A wrinkle appeared between her eyebrows. Good afternoon. We provide food to priests free of charge. Please pick whatever you like. Juliana stumbled over her words. Her nervousness was obvious, but the trio didn't seem to notice, immersed in their own conversation. Is she scared of them? She almost dropped her tray as she led them to the table, but even then they didn't pay him any mind. Or maybe the town is actually helping us out by showing what none of the locals would dare to say out loud. Having taken their order, Juliana disappeared into the back room. Path of high adaptability. We need to try to talk to her again, find some excuse. After thinking about it, I deliberately poured some tea on myself. The berries fell onto my clothes and slid down, leaving dark stains behind. Anna and Greg stared at me blankly. Neither of them had expected that. Purposefully wailing loudly, I got up from the table and went to the back room. Immediately outside the doors, I ran into Anna. The woman looked at me in surprise. You can't come in here. I know, but I need to wash my clothes. The spot on my chest was growing and the cold fabric clung unpleasantly to my body. I hope I didn't do this for nothing. Lord, how did you manage that? Okay, just wait a moment. Juliana returned with a dampened towel in her hands. Wiping up the spilled tea, I decided it would be better to ask her directly. Are you afraid of them? Your hands are shaking. Stop asking questions. It will be better for everyone. They're not local, right? Neither you nor that girl. You can't change anything in this city. If you try, it'll only disrupt everything. I returned to the hall feeling ambivalent. On the one hand, it seemed that Juliana told me more than she should have without realizing it. On the other hand, it wasn't all that much. We left the dining room in a state of limbo. Each of us stayed silent, remaining in our own thoughts. Anna spoke first. We need to find out more about the missing monk at the monastery. Did they even look for him? Didn't hear much about that, but the strange monastery definitely plays an important role in the city. What do you want to do next? You better tell Dimitri about this conversation. Anna hesitated to answer before she took out her transponder and handed it to Greg. Okay, but you better be the one to talk to him. After some time, Dimitri came out from the crowd. He was accompanied by Kira. Oh great, everyone that I want to be dead is here. Sparks flashed between her and Anna, but the general's menacing voice quickly cooled their rising tension. I thought I asked you not to interfere. Oh, we won't know the truth otherwise. Anna and Dimitri glared at each other. The woman knew that she couldn't win this fight, but she wanted to at least be heard. Dejectedly, I looked around the square and suddenly felt a drop fall on my cheek. Rain? Now? I wiped it off my face and looked at my palm. There was a trail of blood running down my fingers. A large flock of crows suddenly flew over our heads. Oh my god! Are we seeing them? They were carrying something strange in their beaks. Scarlet drops followed the birds across the white snow. What is this? A woman ran out from behind the houses where the flock had flown out, sobbing. She fell to her knees in front of them and pointed to the cemetery, unable to utter a word. Follow me. What is this? Dimitri walked through the gate first and suddenly stopped. I tried to go further, but he blocked my path. Are you sure? It's not a pleasant sight. I'm sure. Y'all, Dimitri is surprising me so much. What is this? When did he start to show emotion? When? No, he's still a bitch. He needs to go. Up ahead, there was a shallow grave torn apart by crows. Oh, hell no! At least leave the dead be. White snow fell on the black, excavated ground. There was something red inside it. Shooing the birds away, I came closer and bent down. Buried in the pit was a bloody rope wrapped around gutted human entrails. Looks like we found the missing monk. Great. Yeah, goodbye. What kind of bullshit is this? Like, not even the dead are kind. Not even the dead is safe. What is this? But yeah, there's nothing much I can say here. I just love to see how much Cain cares about us. And I just wanted to continue. I hate that we're being forced upon all those other bitches' presence. But hey, we would have the opportunity to kill all of them with just one blow. I'm just saying. They're still all there. All of those bitches that actually hurt us. But yeah, let's see what next episode is gonna be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best. And I will see you in another video. Bye.